Howdy healers, welcome to Zero to KSM Hero, a series where I'll be attempting the Keystone Master Challenge in patch 9.1.5 on a brand new healer. The rules are simple. For the Alliance, least favored healer, least popular covenant, only moderate help from main character allowed, no linking Raider IO to main character, hugging only, and finally the challenge must be finished before posting the first video to avoid any external help or assistance, and of course for the sake of integrity. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Zero to KSM Hero, where I am doing my best. Alright, so my Keystone is a 7 Sanguine, and I'm a little too nervous to try that out right now. So instead, I'm gonna just head into the group finder and struggle bust my way to victory by joining other people's groups. Now, I know that there's an argument to be made for running your own key, and I don't usually disagree with running your own key. Sometimes I think that it can be a huge benefit. However, my experience with running my own key on my shaman when I was doing that was I was getting into groups that were way too high level for me because my key was too high level. And I could have de-leveled it, that's true. But I think at the time it didn't really occur to me that that was an option. And anyway, I kind of just like joining other people's groups. So I'm eyeballing this +2 Plaguefall because Plaguefall is a dungeon I haven't done yet, and I kind of want to get each dungeon in my list so that I can, I don't know. So it looks like I've done everything, so I don't look like an idiot who doesn't know any of the dungeons, I guess. But I'm a little nervous to sign up to it, mostly because the guy doesn't have an IO score at all. But then I'm like, well, you know, YOLO, who cares? Like, the worst that's gonna happen is it sucks, right? And I get invited immediately. Now, this is again, we're going to my secret hack here that I've kind of learned, which is if you apply to a DPS player's key, you're way more likely to get invited because they know that if they have a healer, that they will get a tank. That they won't get a tank unless they have a healer, and they won't get a healer unless they have a tank. Like, this is one of those things where if you can get one, the other will usually follow. Maybe not right away, but eventually. So that's kind of nice. I guess while we're flying over there, I can talk about 9.2 coming out very soon. I hope everybody's ready for that. I'm definitely not. I spent the last week debating on what to do for 9.2. Like, you know, do I make a new character my main? Do I do another Zero to KSM series? Like, when it comes out? Or do I wait? You know, the usual. And, it's difficult because I don't have, like, a main. I mean, after finishing the Zero to KSM series for Season 2, the Mistweaver here is basically my main now. She has better gear than my old main from the beginning, the Hunter that I played to start the X-Pack. So, I don't really have a main. I could go back to the Hunter, though, and I think that might be what I do, just go back to my Hunter to do, like, the story stuff and get all the skips and everything. It sounds kind of goofy, but I'm probably not gonna jump like right into Mythic Plus or anything like that, just because, you know, I don't know. I like playing my alts and stuff too. So, but we'll see. I'm hoping. I have hopes. We'll just say I have hopes for 9.2. It looks like it might be fun. The tier sets look like they might be interesting. Maybe not so much with the buggy Marksman Hunter one, and my Hunter is of course Marksman, so that's cool, but it's fine. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'll probably do something for 9.2, like in terms of some kind of Zero to KSM series. I just don't know what kind of character I want to do it on yet. Like, if I do another healer, I was thinking maybe a druid, but I don't have it solid in my head yet. Guess I could go for Night Fae Holy Paladin and spend the whole time suffering, but totally optional. I think I'll wait though until my main has some of the skips in place. And we are slowly acquiring people here. There were some pretty geared people in that queue that did not get invited, so it is interesting to kind of see like who other people invite to the group. The advantage of running your own key is, of course, that you can choose who you invite to your group, so you're not stuck with like, you know, random people that somebody else would choose. Because, like, as you can see, like, I have the Raider IO add-on. I know what everybody's rating is. Uh, and I guess there is, like, a slot for this anyway, but, like, not everybody looks at it. Some people just, like, they're not paying attention or whatever. Or they get really, like, fussy about inviting people that are, like, equal gear level or equal IO level. Like, I really don't care. I'm here to get Keystone Master. I'm not gonna only pick, like, people that are my gear level or whatever. I'm gonna pick people that can carry me if I can. And, I mean, I'm the healer, so, like, they can only carry so much. If you're a DPS, you could probably get carried a little bit more, but I'm not, I'm not gonna play DPS, so, I don't know. We'll see. Like, there's plenty of people here applying, but some of them kind of suck. And here he got fed up with his applicants, and rather than decline them all, just relisted the group. But we have a tank and a healer, so now we're just waiting for good DPS. And the really funny thing about this is that it's just a +2. So you'd think some like well-geared players would be signing up, but it is like 10 server time. This would be in the morning for sure. Oh my goodness. We just spent so long just like waiting on DPS, which is wild to me. At least everybody's at the stone ready to summon whoever we invite, so there's that. I mean, they had a score from season 1, so they wouldn't be the worst. And then that paladin's back again for some reason. I have noticed kind of a trend of people that get impatient when a group doesn't fill fast enough and then they leave. But, like, if you leave, you're making it fill up even slower, so I don't know what to tell you. I probably wouldn't invite the paladin either because they were already, like, in the group and left for some reason. There they go. They're gone. Bye. 3 days later, we will get, like, and I just need a Plaguefall, a Sanguine Depths, and a Theater of Pain, and then I have one of each dungeon on Fortified. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting this one done so that I have a score. Or I have more of a score, I guess you could say. Look, here is a mage with a rating, and he got invited immediately. Let's go. That means food for me. That means heroism. We're looking good. We're looking good. I didn't have a bingo card for, like, spent 2 years in the group finder looking for DPS, but that is a thing early in the morning on Alliance side. I say early, but, like, it's 10 server, so it's not that early. It's probably, like, noon my time when I'm doing this. So it's not that early in the morning, and it's probably a weekend if I was guessing, so... Alright, we got our boys, we got our gamer squad for this +2. And in theory, we should crush it. This is not a long dungeon, unless people are terrible. And then it's an eternal dungeon. I do the pew-pew. Yeah, you do. And you provide the food also, don't forget that part. Thank you, bro. I always try to thank the mage for the food, because it encourages them to remember to put it down. I've been in quite a few groups where I was surprised that it wasn't, like, habit. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's because I played mage for a while, but like whenever I get into a group, I put food down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And I still have 20 minutes on my flask. I used Thunder Focus Tea on some long renewing mist just for the hell of it. Depending on the dungeon, that may or may not work out very well, but it's fine.
Finally sent someone to kill me. You're welcome to try. The horrors within these halls will make quick work of you. Stradama's plague will soon be mine.
Alright, so things look pretty chaotic here, but they're not really that bad. Like, these DPS and, well heck, even the tank are doing quite a bit of damage. I'm just trying to honestly, like, keep people alive and stay out of everybody's way, because nothing is worse as a melee DPS than people getting in your way. And you can see that I was, like, using a lot of mana there. My mana isn't looking very good right now. However, I do have mage food, so I'm not really worried about it. Like, I can heal through a lot of stuff. I just need to be able to sit and drink at the end. And as you can see, I just sat and drank, because, like, obviously the DPS got this handled. They don't need my help. And away we go. I'm trying to grab that because I don't know what it is, but I want to grab the orb thing. Sometimes orbs are good, and you should grab them. Other times they're not. It's hard to know.
It's too far away.
Everything died, the end. So you can see, like, this is a pretty good group. Like, the damage is high. Everybody's doing pretty well. Yeah, the Plague Belcher eats some slimes, but, like, honestly, unless you're on a high key, it's not that big of a deal. We have enough crowd control for the first boss. Alright. Boss number 1, let's go. I know some people hate this boss, but, like, actually he's one of my favorite bosses because he's so easy. Like, if people don't suck, this boss is easy. I usually dispel one person. Do I have a reason for that? I mean, no. Usually I dispel somebody who isn't a mage. Mages usually can just blink to get behind the boss, so I just try to, like, dispel somebody so that they have an easier time, like, doing mechanics. But and I don't know why I dispelled the Windwalker when they could dispel themselves, but what can you do? The boss died in about 10 seconds.
All of Maldraxxus will pay for what they've done.
Sorry for when I suck. I mean, but you don't, though. As far as I know, anyway. If we're not dying, I don't really notice huge mistakes, because, like, mistakes aren't big enough to be concerned about. Okay. So these slimes can kind of hurt, honestly. Or, like, all of these little pools here can hurt if people are not paying attention. My rule of thumb here is not always, but the higher the key goes, like honestly, I just want to stay further and further away from those guys because I can only dispel one person at a time, and let's be real here, you can invite like a team of paladins and monks, and you will still be the only one dispelling the disease. That's just how it is. So when it comes to that, it's like one less person getting the disease, which you only get in melee, by the way, the better. See that teamwork there? Where we all just stepped on the slimies? We're good. Alright, so now I'm gonna drink, and we're gonna get to the truly fun and exciting part. I'd say that most people are like afraid of this part, at least to the extent that they pay extra attention to make sure that they're not standing in anything they're not supposed to. Alright. Another easy moment. Slap down that statue. People line of sighting you on the stairs. I love it. At least you kind of know to expect it here. These stairs are so big that you kind of expect a line of sight. Alright. On to the next part. Everybody's favorite. This boss, for me, is pretty much just one of those, like, alright, either it's gonna be amazing and go, like, perfectly fine, or it's going to be a literal nightmare and I'm gonna hate my life. There is no in between. It's either a great experience or a bad experience. And usually when it's a bad experience, it's because you're dead. Because you, like, die in 2 seconds. Probably because nobody killed the bombs, but you never know. I guess they could be just standing in the slime the whole time. That's also bad. I definitely appreciate groups that are really fast here at getting around and doing what they gotta do. Okay. And we pull these two guys. And that spine breaker is kind of dangerous on higher keys, but this is a +2, so he's not too bad yet. I mean, he could still be a problem if everybody stood in bad, but... Everybody got the slimes. And we're running. The spell. See how fast this boss is dying? It's literally just wild. Statue down again. Yes, and they could have ignored the bomb to kill the boss, and like maybe that would be fine, but also maybe it wouldn't be. See, I paralyzed the slime. I don't know if that's the right call or not, but I'm doing it anyway because it looks evil and bad. Dispel! This is why the last boss in Necrotic Wake is so hard for me sometimes. Because I get used to dispelling quickly, and then, like, sometimes it's just a habit and you dispel even though you know better. Alright, on to the next section. This is actually the section that I hate the most in this dungeon. And you might be like, why? Because it's not that bad. Yes it is. I am thankful that we don't skip through the side the way that normal groups do.
Festers, destroys everything it touches, even the victor.
Who needs hero? I mean, you could both use it. That's the thing. Like, you're a hunter, you can use it. Even if you're a marksman, you can pull out a pet. You can do it. In fact, it being a personal DPS loss is stupid. Just do it. That's my hot take of the day. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Hunters should be using heroism if nobody else in the group is using it. They should be prepared to do that. Alright, this is the part I hate the most. It's because I have no sense of space, and that stupid tentacle there on the right, sometimes I will pull it. But not today. I'm a badass today. And I'm just following my tank.
I will correct his mistake. All will suffer, as the House of Eyes has suffered.
Now with these little stealthlings, these are like, they can one-shot somebody. Maybe, depending on the gear level that you have, even in a +2, they could probably kill you. So, I try to spinning crane kick them out of stealth or whatever, just because, in my mind, I'm doing my part. No, it's more like, at least then people can see them, and if I'm lucky, maybe they'll even kill them and they won't ambush somebody. If I'm desperate, it's possible that I'll be able to kill a couple myself, which will bring the damage down of whoever they ambush. And I can also stun them with my leg sweep, if I have to. Alright, so there's some guys. I really hate it when people Ring of Peace them immediately. Like, I would rather bring them out of stealth and then they get Ring of Peace. But whatever works, actually. I'm not that picky so long as they die.
You will not stop me. My blades
I
will
forgot about the
rend
mechanic.
your flesh.
Don't look at me. Alright, with this shadow ambush, I try to wait to leave until, like, the last second.
Demise comes from the shadows.
And now I just follow my tank around.
A single scratch is all it will take.
And see how fast this boss is dying? Like,
Target has escaped me.
oh my goodness. Like, this is a confidence booster. Like, I was able to do, not good damage, not good damage, but I was able to do some damage. And it wasn't awful. Like, I wasn't struggling, nobody died. That's my kind of boss fight. Makes me feel good about myself, makes me happy. I know some people dread this area, and I'm not one of those people. Most tanks, by this point, are aware that they need to kite or use a defensive here, and I would argue that most tanks are using a defensive here.
I need to get closer.
And speaking of defensives, I should probably, like, mention my Omni CD on the right side of my voodoo frames. I don't really have that many cooldowns showing, so I should probably fix that someday. But I won't, because I don't care, I guess. And I also show my cooldowns. Why? Because I hate it when one of the rows is missing and there's something on every other row. Now I don't have OCD, but it's like that. I don't know what happened with the camera there. That was weird. Like there's a section where it's just darker for some reason. Now, this is the kind of group that you want for this boss anyways, because that infectious rain sucks. Pretty much for every healer, some more than others. I'd say it's easiest on a Mistweaver, but alright. I have a cat misbehaving in the background. I can hear it. Alright. Like, I don't even think I've gotten, like, a single... Alright, yeah, when you go around, your best bet is to always go around that circle in such a way that even if it looks like the other way is shorter, that you'll have the most time. Alright. We are slaying this dungeon. By we, I mean my DPS and my tank. See, and then I revivaled too fast. I should have waited till it was like she was done casting it and then just revivaled it all off. Don't worry, I'll get better at that. I'll figure it out. Alright, so the Keystone was upgraded 3. That's pretty good. And our mage friend is giving us a portal, which is awesome. I will say that's one thing about mages. Even when they don't give me food, like, sometimes they still remember the portal, which is kind of cool. So, I'm excited because we did a good job in there. Little sad that I didn't really get anything, but I also didn't, like, bother to look and see if anybody needed anything. Also, it's like our mage knew that he was being recorded there. I don't know how that happened, but maybe he secretly knew. So shout out to Baslin there, our mage, who gave us food and a portal, and is telling you to like and subscribe. What can you do? For a quick peek at our bingo cards, I'm not really seeing anything on the painful bingo at all, because nothing about that group was painful. Like, okay, so we didn't get heroism before, like, the end, really, but that's okay, because, like, we didn't really need it. So it wasn't painful, and it wasn't discussed beforehand. And when it was discussed, our mage used it, so, nothing there. And then for wholesome bingo, I mean, it was a good group, and, you know, like, overall, we had 3 good DPS in there, you know, but I don't think that a +2 is where I want to drop that. I feel like, yeah, it's a wonderful group, and it's a +2, where people are probably, like, not playing optimally and still manage to be good. So, I'm gonna say nothing for this dungeon for either bingo. Alright, back at it in the group finder. Let's find us another group. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this is, of course, because I'm a coward and I'm afraid of doing my own key. I'm also scared of Spires of Ascension, which is why I'm not going to apply to this group, but I sure as hell will stare at it for a while. I need a Sanguine Depths and a Theater of Pain for score, but I'm scared of those dungeons. So I'm looking at things I've already done, thinking maybe if I just go up like a couple of key levels from what I've already done, it won't be too bad. I'm not actually scared of Necrotic Wake, and I wasn't paying attention to the name of the group leader either. So that's a surprise for later. Or right now. Surprise! It's the same DPS's group I applied to last time. Remember we +3'd their key? So that's pretty cool. I guess we could check that off the bingo at the end of the episode. And it won't be the last time that this happens to us. The Alliance Mythic Plus group is, limited, shall we say? And through the magic of editing, we are hanging out in the dungeon, waiting for our mage, and just chillin', I guess. Just chillin'. Alright, we're all here. Our mage puts out food because they are a good mage. Even though I only ate twice in my last dungeon. I like make an effort to click on it so it makes it look like I took one. My reasoning is that, like, I don't want to ignore it, because if I ignore it, then it's like... Oh, look at this. Embarrassment. Nobody put the key in. Is that another bingo right here? We're getting this bingo for like a +5 before it even starts. Tank was like, ah, excited. I mean, if he's pumped and excited to do a +5 Necrotic Wake, then I too am excited to do a +5 Necrotic Wake. Let's eliminate these guys and get the key in. Ding! I gotta turn the volume on my like gameplay down to about like -1,000 just because of this voice acting in this dungeon is so loud.
This temple was merely the first to fall. Soon all of Bastion will burn.
Alright, so it's hard for me to like go in and do damage when I have a Windwalker in the group to put Mystic Touch on for me, but I know that I need to make the effort. Right? Like, I know that I should be doing some damage to help, but to be perfectly honest with you, in a +5, if my damage is necessary to timing the key, then the group is bad. And we did not invite decent players to our group. So I'm kind of taking that stance too, that I'm just going to stand back and be, you know, better safe than sorry. I don't know what all mobs cleave at this point, and I really, really, really do not want to get stunned into a cleave or something. Because again, you can't always trust your groups to do things like interrupt. However, if we look at our interrupts in the lower right-hand corner down there, people are interrupting. So that's beautiful. And the Windwalker even dispelled himself. So this is a top tier gamer right here. I got stunned, but only for like a second. And I have wasted so much mana that I am now, like, quite low. Which is my own fault, honestly. I waste so much mana. I know anybody who might be watching this that plays a Mistweaver is like, oh my god, stop using so much mana for no reason. And I'm over here like, YOLO, I have 78 mana buns. I can sit and eat whenever I want. Provided the group allows me to sit. Alright, so I need to sit and I need to drink immediately. Somebody's a Kyrian. Look at that! I got a mana break because the tank said. The tank said. Mana. The tank is paying attention. He knows. Alright. We have orbs. I'm dumb and stand on people because I'm dumb. I've since learned that facing the wall back there is actually the best way to do it, because it's so much easier to not hit people. But anyway, when you have the orb, you need to stand in melee. It doesn't matter what class you are or what spec. There's no excuse. This isn't classic where there's a min range for hunters. Everybody with the orb should be standing in melee. You're doing damage and you're doing healing. The boss is absolutely melting. They kill the grubs. Or the worms, I guess. But the boss dies so fast, it's not even a concern. And here's the most exciting part. We didn't use heroism.
Flesh will be irked to know you destroyed his prize creation. Though I am sure he would gladly take your limbs as repayment.
Feline Stomp really is a mana hog. I was kind of doubting it at first, like, oh, it's probably not that bad. Like, everything the monk does is a mana hog, technically speaking, but what makes this any worse? I have a cat that's, like, trying to cause problems on purpose. It's because she has one of those ball tracks that's like in a circle, you know, where the ball goes around, and she'll spend hours batting the ball around in circles. The problem is that it's in this room, and it's so loud that you can hear it over everything I'm saying. So I had to flip it upside down, and now she's losing her mind trying to figure out how to get it back the other way. I guess this is as good a time as any to mention that I have 8 cats. And they are all fat and lazy, except for one. And that's the one causing problems on purpose. Bibble is baby. If you look at a picture of Bibble, you cannot tell me that Bibble is not baby. She's spoiled. They're all spoiled, actually. I love cats. And animals in general. They do, however, like to cause inconveniences when you're playing games and trying to record. That is their MO, I guess. Good thing they're cute. I guess parents say that about their kids too. Alright, so this section of Necrotic Wake is usually, at least for me, one of the... It kind of helps test you to see how the rest of it's gonna go. Because if people can't interrupt the rasping scream on one mob, they sure as heck aren't gonna interrupt it on 2 of them at once. And then everybody's gonna try to skip this, and it's probably not gonna work because it never does, right? Yep, what a shock, what a shock. If you have a Mind Soothe, you can do that skip. It works pretty well with Mind Soothe, and maybe I could have Ring of Peace and Paralyzed to do that, or maybe the other monk could have done that, but nobody tried. The guy just tried to run through, but you literally cannot just skip that way. Like, you can't just walk through. You've never been able to do that, but like every third group I'm in seems to think that that's a possibility. And also, like, it's a +5. I ain't about using an invis pot here. Or expecting other people to have invis pots. I mean, I do. I bought them because I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be the one person that doesn't have one when I'm asked to use one. Alright, so our tank is getting low, and I'm, like, out of juice here. Running on fumes. Wait, because I feel pretty confident that he's going to be okay, and I don't want to do too much. But I did use a mana pot there just because better safe than sorry. I don't want to just assume that something horrible isn't going to happen. And you could be like, well, damage patterns are usually, yeah, in pugs, they're never predictable. I've had plenty of groups where it was like, everything felt like totally fine, and then all of a sudden they're like failing mechanics left and right for no reason, and you're like, bro, I'm just trying to heal you. Alright. So we have 2 of these Marauders. The key for these Marauders is part 1, do not stand in front of them unless you are the tank. They do a cleave, and it is a heavy damage cleave. And our melee DPS are 100% following this rule. Also, we had 2 interrupts. Neither one of them was the tank on the first round, but now 1 interrupt from everybody. This group is gaming. At least that's what I'm going to call it. The cat is still causing problems on purpose. Hey! You! Just because you're cute doesn't mean you can get away with murder. She's really cute. Okay, so anyway, I'm looking at this area. Like, I feel like this area is pretty easy, and sometimes I even kind of like it when they pull the mobs in the middle on accident, because it's like a massive pool, and it can be fun to heal. But that's only if the group is good. When the group isn't great, I don't enjoy it as much. I mean, I guess that's true of any dungeon. When a tank does like a huge pull, but he's like a god, and you are a mere like accessory to his own self-healing, like I'm helping doing like 25% of the healing, then, you know, it feels cool. And then when like everybody's dying because somebody did a big pull, then it feels, you know, maybe less good. Or a lot less good. Feels like shit, actually. But, you know, I like... that pool usually isn't too hard. I feel like as a healer you can kind of carry that pool. Mostly by staying out of the fear and then keeping an eye out on if somebody gets feared, like dispelling that fear before they can pull more. But... this is an interesting spot where I can't get over the wall. And I also can't go around without pulling more. Like, I literally just can't get over this. I don't know how the other person did it. I can't do it. Like, my other option is to go around that way, and I feel pretty confident that if I go around to the right side that I'll just pull everything. And I didn't want to double pull there, but like, in hindsight, I should have just did the double pull, because it wouldn't have been that bad. And here, I should have just wiped. Just been like, wipe. And if I was a big gamer, I would have been a night elf monk. I would have let everybody else die, and then I would have shadow melded and then rezzed everybody. But I'm stupid here, and I just like keep fighting even though it's maybe not the smartest thing that I've ever done. And my CC gets broken, which is like, alright, but... okay, so lessons learned here. Lesson learned. Lesson number 1. Just do a double pull if your group is like that godly. Or I could have even Ring of Peaced those mobs back so that maybe I could get through without... yeah, anyway, I'm dumb. I should have just pulled them or tried to Ring of Peace them away or whatever, but I was busy panicking. Like, oh, I have to get back up this way, and like, it wasn't my only option, but my brain was just fixated on that. Like, I have to do it this way, but you don't. You have options. And then my second option is when I realized I couldn't get over and I was too dumb to think about, like, skirting around the side and pulling those mobs. Anyway, at the very least, I should have just let us wipe, because it would have been faster than me trying to keep people alive and then running back. As you can see, like, everybody else is already, like, back, and now they have to wait for me and the mage to get back, which also doesn't work that well. So, I've learned my lesson. This is one of the only groups I've had, by the way, where they did this. Most groups jump over it and skip that group. And so the fact that we all jumped over was like, oh. And also the tank could have taken initiative if he would have realized that we were stuck on the other side, that he could have just pulled the other group too. We could have handled it. That's the thing. In my mind, I was like, oh, I don't want to be the one to pull extra, but like we could have handled it. The tank isn't bad. And my healing is pretty high, so I could have definitely healed through it. And I had... It's one of those things where you're like, oh god, like watching this back is cringe, because I definitely could have done a lot to make that better and prevent a wipe there. But it's fine. It's one wipe. It's not that bad.
Foolish Paragon! There is nothing you can do to stop us.
Alright, easy clap.
No matter.
Well, okay.
My dreams are
I was like, well, I might as well get a little bit of a drink in.
The fallen shall serve me again.
And the tank is on it, man. I am Tonk is on it. Gripping that mage in and everything. You see how fast this boss is melting? I mean, a big chunk of it is that Windwalker.
And decay.
I'm still too scared to do a lot of DPS, which is kind of funny on this boss because the damage on him, maybe at high key levels, is a little bit different, of course, but at this level, there's not that much damage going out in general, especially for the first part of the fight, so I should definitely be, like, in there doing stuff. And I should have just paralyzed the mage there. Would anybody have messed with it? I mean, maybe.
Will reduce you to dust.
But now I have a cat all tangled up in cords down there. Please don't unplug my computer. I'm begging you. I should probably save her, actually. From herself. Okay, cat saved. I put her toy in the other room where hopefully I won't have to hear it if she goes ham on it. She does nothing in halves. Alright, it's time for Pugbuster room.
Just a moment longer.
I don't remember if anybody got the orb,
A new creation have arrived at last.
but what I learned in doing this dungeon is that nobody else gets the orb. Just get it yourself. Alright, the spare parts don't really have like an aggro table or whatever, so just kill them. And if you're the healer, just kill them. Especially if you can't, if you have a good AoE to kill them. Otherwise, they're super annoying. Okay. And then I died because I got stunned. There wasn't a lot I could do there. I guess I could have cocooned myself. I think you can use that in stun. And so I'm like, nobody got the orb! Better just grab it. What's another couple seconds anyway? I mean, the tank is pretty good at self-sustain, so I'm not super worried about him needing me immediately. I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, well, I might as well grab the orb.
It's too far away.
Okay. caught up on healing. But now I have the dilemma of, like, do I use the orb now or later? There are a couple of options for the orb is handy because it interrupts, right? The orb is best because of the interrupt. However, it still does quite a bit of damage and healing, so it's one of the most powerful tools in the dungeon. It's so funny that people forget about it. In their defense, it's a little bit invisible sometimes. I go ahead and use it here because of the corpse collector. That, and I don't want to get stunned again, right? Okay.
Come, my assistant. These raw materials are in need of processing.
Definitely should be sitting and drinking right now instead of healing. And because I was in combat, of course, I got the cleaver, and then I didn't use it correctly. Our mage is fixated. And I just eat the cleaver because it didn't kill me last time, I guess. I don't know. Don't worry, I will learn. I mean, I know that you're supposed to, like, line it up with the other assistant, or even the tank is supposed to eat it, and there he does. But, like, if you're too far away from it, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm not going to make it in time. So you can also, I guess, pop a defensive,
Try not to damage
use that item yet.
whilst you tear them off.
which, like, I have Fortifying Brew, so I should probably be using that. But whatever. It's fine. I'm kind of grateful for this having, like, a... I don't know, it's like kind of like a time-gated RP sort of thing going on here. So that, because I feel like if all of these mobs were just here in different corners or something, or hallways, like, so many groups would just pull, like, all of it at once. So I have to be just, like, super grateful that they kind of gate it behind time, and that you have to kill one pack before the next spawns. Alright, so I am, like, out of mana. Alright. I did one thing right. I just drank instead of healing those two people up to full. And my reasoning for this is that when the boss fight starts, the chance of me being able to get, like, a full drink is iffy. So I want to make sure that I'm going to have mana by drinking when I can. Because you just never know what's going to happen. Alright.
No! Now I have to rebuild those.
I could have revivaled that.
It seems I must take matters. I can't wait to put your
still
corpse to
recharging.
use.
Alright, so I do manage to sit and drink a little bit. But I don't want to stay too long in case I get the hook. And I do get the hook.
I must preserve your parts for later.
Line it up with the boss, get out of the way.
Imbecile! I'm the one who made you!
The boss is absolutely melting.
Have you no respect for craftsmanship?
And then I roll right into damage. Cringy.
Ears. Oh, those are so hot.
Alright, here we have the boss fixating. Because the Stitch Flesh guy is dead, the abomination, he's not going to put a hook out, so you can't hook the boss with it, so he's going to fixate. But our demon hunter was like, I'm fixated, and then he boogied out of there. like a true gamer. Alright, up to the final boss. In my experience, if the rest of the dungeon has gone pretty well, the final boss is easy. Alright. I realized partway through that, like, I don't want to hammer right off the gate, and that I should try to get his shield with it. So I canceled it and waited a couple seconds. But you can see he's, like, literally melting. I don't usually do damage on this fight because... Well, I might use, like, my lightning or whatever, but I try not to get in too close because depending on the group comp and if the boss is dying fast, like, I'm probably just going to get into the melee DPS's way. If I have a full ranged comp, I'm totally fine with getting in there and doing damage because it's just me and the tank, and I feel like I can coordinate with one other person to not suck, but there's just no way that with all of these melee that I'm gonna stand up there and get in their way. I always do the circle, always walk in a circle. I'm just trying to let my DPS do their work. And we got it. And we plus 2'd it even. So this is where the reality hits. Yeah, I messed up. I kind of sucked. But you know what? We still plus 2'd it. We still plus 2'd it. That guy just asked if anybody needed the ring, and I, like, poured it out like an idiot. Like an idiot. Like an actual idiot. I could have got an upgrade, and I didn't. Anyway, let's look at bingo. Alright, so for painful bingo, we actually got 2 from this last dungeon. So the pull timer counted down, but nobody put in the key. And it wasn't, like, for no reason, but it still happened, so it counts. And then the healer dies to something stupid. So, yes, I died to something stupid. I can admit it. I sucked. Definitely didn't play well in that dungeon. But here's the important part here. The important takeaway. We still timed it. In fact, we plus 2'd it. So, like, mistakes in the learning process, unless everybody in the group is making these kinds of mistakes, you know, there's definitely room for a couple mistakes in every dungeon. Now, we're learning. We are gathering information into our brains, and we are storing it there to use for our next Necrotic Wake. And for wholesome bingo, we actually have 2 more for that one too. First, the tank did offer a mana break, or called for a mana break, twice in the dungeon, so we got mana breaks. And then we ran into the same player more than once by chance, and that was our Windwalker Monk, I'm a Boss. So yay, we checked off a couple more things from our bingo. I think we're doing pretty good here. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on if you're kind of tired of watching the episode or not, that's all the time we have for today. So until next time, happy healing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.